Hey everyone, James LaBrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater podcast. I am your host, John. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, and the cmsnetwork.com. We are live at those four locations every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to catch video replays of the show, just check out our YouTube channel, or better yet, go to Heavy Metal Television. You can find all of our episodes there. And if you'd like to download the audio version of the podcast, just Google Talking into Infinity, and we're on almost any audio platform that you can think of. Let me bring on my awesome friend, Brian, my co-host. What is going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? So I want to apologize. This is not the set from the 1990 acoustic Dream Theater show behind me. I don't have my green screen because I am actually not at home. This is the third time we've postponed a ski trip, so I'm actually in a motel outside of Cincinnati in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. So I apologize. I'm not going to have a cool green screen, and you're just going to have to look at me, which is probably even worse with nothing cool behind me. But
you should have just told. You should have just told everybody that's your green screen. Like, look, I got a hotel backdrop as my green screen for this episode.
You can see the heater blowing on the curtain back here. It really looks pro.
That's awesome. So in a few moments, we are going to have Chance LaBrie from Falset on to talk to us about their new single, Lullabies, and their upcoming tour dates with Dream Theater in Canada. So he'll be on in a few minutes. While we are waiting for him to jump on, I want to first of all, thank the Dream Theater USA guys that we hooked up with yesterday for a pre-show meet and greet. Oh, speaking of, there's Everett. Everett ran the event last night. Everett, awesome to see you, man. Thanks for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Our buddy Kale McLeish is logged on. Good to see you, man. Nick Brayman, thanks for tuning in. And many thanks to the Dream Theater USA guys, if I could speak properly. Many thanks to the Dream Theater USA guys. We had a blast hanging out yesterday. We met up several hours before the show, actually, and I kept you from getting dinner because you paid no attention to our scheduled plans. But it was awesome, dude. I thought that was a total blast, just hanging out with some fellow Dream Theater fans, like big nerds like us. It was a blast, man. The guys were great, and we ended up hanging out at Market Street, and then we ended up going to the venue and hanging out, having some more beers and stuff next to the venue. So That was a good time, man. It was what kind of conversations did you get in? Because you and I usually stick together, but we ended up on different ends of the table. Just ended up bullshitting with some new friends, man.
What's cool about it is, like, it's your typical. You go to a concert, okay, who's gonna wear what shirt, And me, of course, I didn't wear my I don't even think I have a concert T-shirt anymore. I got a bunch of hoodies, but I don't really have any shirts, which is sad because I wish I still had all my old cool ones. But anyway, so it's like the guy that was next to me had a Maiden shirt on. So we're talking Maiden. And just to give people an idea, so we had, I think there was 3 guys from Pennsylvania, 2 from the west side of Cleveland, a couple from the east side of Cleveland.
Yep.
One, I think the farthest guy came from Pittsburgh, at least that was there that we talked to. And
sure.
we started, it's just the, I think the usual, hey, when's the first time you saw the band? What do you think of the new album? Right away, I overheard you talking, and the guy you were talking to was, the infamous argument regarding the self-titled album.
Yeah.
And it's the first time we ever really met someone. I don't think we want to give away a ton of this, but like the first time that I've ever met someone that their favorite album is the self-titled album, which is cool, man. That's why we love the show, because everybody has different tastes.
Yep. Well, his name is Robert, and he's tuned in. Robert Reams, what's up, man? Good to see you. I completely disagree with your favorite album, but pulling the curtain back, I told him like he had a couple opinions that were the complete opposite of ours, and I said, dude, I'm gonna get you on the phone, and we are gonna discuss all of your Dream Theater takes, and then we're gonna have you on. We're gonna have like a kind of like not a battle, but a debate. We're just gonna his opinions versus ours because they are complete polar opposites of each other. I think it'll make for a great episode. Oh, look, our buddy Adam Rishog's tuned in. What's up, Adam? Good to see you, man. He usually works Thursday nights, but he's tuned in. That's awesome. And
I do want to say though, bonus points to Robert because I believe he told us his wedding song was "Our New World."
That's correct.
That is correct. Which is very awesome. I've never met anyone whose wife, or fiance at the time allowed him to use Dream Theater as a wedding song. So that's amazing.
Right. Everett says instant camaraderie. Yes. With beyond a shadow of a doubt, man. It was a really good time. Like, I got up to take a piss and the guys, you had said, man, that guy doesn't shut up, does he? Like, no, I don't shut up. So, well,
we kind of talked about like, we didn't want to just go in there and go, oh, we got a podcast. It's like, I mean, like we want to promote it, but mainly because we want people like this to come on and just have fun like we are, because that keeps us from having to just sit here and jabber away. We want the input. So I think you did an awesome job of balancing it out. Like you were good at like kind of working the table and, everyone got their chance to speak and stuff. I thought it was real cool. It was natural. It's always a little awkward when you first get there, like, oh, but then you just kind of flow into it. And, it's like literally everyone like right away, like, oh, all right, downloaded your podcast. Got it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, that's not exactly why we were there. I mean, it kind of was, but again, it's not self-serving. It's more, just to make it fun for everyone.
Well, exactly. And it's like, it's fun to promote the podcast, but as we've said many times, like we do it, we're huge Dream Theater fans and we do it for other Dream Theater fans, kind of like Gibson Les Paul, who's about to get his ass banned from the chat yet again. He says, DT12 is definitely top 3 for me. It's really gone up on my list in recent years. Well, I'm going to block him just like we have to block Loveface every week. So there he goes. Oh, Brandon Charles. He says, happy to be here with this dysfunctional collective. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, we got a ton of new people today.
I know.
It's awesome.
Robert Husted, man, it was awesome to see you at the show last night, man. Thanks for meeting up for a bit before the band took the stage. It was awesome to see you. So while we're waiting for Chance, let's get into a little bit of what we did at the at the pre-show. So we'll start talking about our show review and everything. But they actually, the Dream Theater USA guys, they do a trivia contest. They set up a fan hangout before all the tour stops, and ours was last night, like we said. And before all of the shows, they do a trivia contest. And I'm just going to show this here, right here. Yeah, that's right, trivia winner. I was so nervous when I found out there'd be a trivia contest because I'm thinking, holy shit, like here I have a podcast, and if I get smoked by these people, they'll be like, you don't know anything about the band. Why do you have a Dream Theater podcast?
Oh, you mean like I did?
You had me to lean on, man. You were like, I don't know. And I'm like, thank God I know these because we'd look like total tools right now. But
oh, excuse me if I don't know when Matt Portnoy left the band. I'm not Mr. Dream Theater know-it-all,
Nice. So I want to see if people in the chat get these. So I have my answer sheet, and there's a possible total of 20 points. Oh, here, look at this. Sandy, if I'm mispronouncing this, Sandy Kuima Ferrati, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. She says, there are a couple of DT USA gals too. That's awesome. Well, thanks for checking out the show. And sorry, we were not trying to be sexist. So apologize for that, Sandy. Thank you for checking out the show. Here, Giovanni's back. Giovanni Palaya. Hello, guys. DT USA fan meets are great. Trivia winner in Baltimore for Distance Over Time tour. He got backstage passes. And it's funny you mentioned that, Giovanni, because like I say, that's where we're going with this is at previous shows, pre-COVID, Everett told us that the trivia winner, a lot of times they would get backstage passes from the band and you'd get to go hang out with the band after the show. And well, of course, with COVID, you can't do that. So I was like, damn, like that would have been cool. But I still, again, I won by a point. And I got an awesome vinyl version of A View from the Top of the World. So definitely got to thank Everett and the Dream Theater USA fan club for that and the record label. So let's see. I want to see how many of you guys in the chat get these, because there's 8 questions for a total of 20 points. So the first question was, where did they record the new record? And I immediately was thinking way too deep, because I'm used to doing like Star Wars trivia contests where it's like the most granular, nitty-gritty questions you've ever heard. And I was like, So first one was DTHQ, and I got it. So full disclosure, I got the first 7 correct, and I got the 8th question is 5 points, and I got 2 of the 5. So see, yep, Robert Husted got it, Brandon got it. So question 2, Nick got it. There we go. So question 2 was, what song did John Petrucci use the 8 string on the new record? And I think, all of us, know that one. Obviously, Awaken the Master. This one almost threw me for a loop, because it sounded like a trick question. And I know that you got this one, Brian. Oh wait, you didn't get any of them. So
hey, I got a couple.
So question number 3 is, who mixed and mastered the title track of View from the Top of the World? And that one kind of threw me for a loop, because I knew who mixed and mastered the record, but I'm thinking, wait a minute, why are they specifically calling out the title track? Did somebody guest mix or whatever? So I got that one. See if you guys know this one in the chat, but it is Andy Sneap. So we got that one. Question number 4 kind of got me a little bit. It was, what is the subject material of Invisible Monster? And that one was anxiety. Sandy got it. Andy Sneap, that's correct. Yep. And Sandy's driving, so make sure you're driving safe. Yep. Look at Gibson Les Paul. That's a good one. He said Andy Sneap or Jimmy T. Jimmy T was co-producer. So good call there, though, for remembering Jimmy T. Not a lot of people remember that one. So question number 5 was, who wrote the lyrics to The Alien?
I got that one right.
Yeah, you got that one right, which was obviously Chance LaBrie. Question 6, I wasn't sure about this one, but I was kind of sure. It was, the rock formation on the cover of the new record is an actual rock formation in what country? And it was, you didn't get that one, did you?
No, I put in Nepal. I don't know why.
Nepal?
They have big mountains there too. So
imagine that, a country has mountains. But it was Norway. So that one was Norway. And then the next question is, it's a 3-pointer. Since Mangini has joined the band, what 3 records have they played in their entirety? And obviously that would be Scenes from a Memory, Images and Words, and The Astonishing.
Yeah, so, that was a pretty easy slam dunk one there. I think that was the easiest question there was.
And now this one, I didn't write all of them down, so I'll give the 2 that I got. If you remember the other 3, please chime in here. But question 8 was worth 5 points. I got 2 of these. It was, what 5 songs have the band, or what 5 songs have they never played live? And I got 2 of them. I got Room 137 and Out of Reach.
Was it S2N also?
S2N was in there? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I don't remember the other 2. Oh, it was off the self-titled Surrender to Reason? Was?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so one more we're missing. Everett, if you're still on here, let us know.
Everett just said I gotta check out, man. So Sandy got, yeah. Look at this. Look at Kale. I smoked you on this one. Whatever, Kale. Bring it on. We'll do a trivia contest on here sometime. We'll
if that's
see.
the case, then what is the other one? If you know
come on, Kale. What's the 5th one, smart ass? That's awesome, dude. I was on here with Kale for like 2 hours last night. I hit him up. I was like, it'll be 5 minutes, I swear. And he
no, not from the new album, you dope.
Nick Brayman, duck fart. That's gorilla fart, man. Look at Kale answering the call. No,
not
dude.
From the new album, Spaz.
No, not from the new album. So, So by the way, we are currently tracking Chance LaBrie down. So he'll be on hopefully soon. Oh, there it is. Adam Rishaw got it. The best of times. Adam got it.
Oh yeah,
that was the one. That was number 5. Where were you on that one, Kale? So thank you, Adam Rishaw.
That makes sense because I mean that's such a personal Portnoy song that they would never remotely attempt that once he left the band.
Yeah.
And Black Clouds is what 2009ish.
2009, yeah.
Yeah, and he left 2 years later. So
Yep.
if you didn't get it on that tour, it obviously never going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that was our good time. Won a trivia contest. Got a vinyl copy of the new record, which was amazing, and had a blast meeting some new friends. And then we went to the show. And if any of you are trying to avoid spoilers for the set list on the current tour, might want to turn it off now because we are about to spoil it for you. I think everyone knows, obviously, the opening song, but before we get into that, what was your overall opinion of the show? Because I was really wondering, like, how it was going to go, because they've had 2 years off, and I get like they're refreshed and stuff, but especially like with James, like singers always talk about the fact that they keep their voices in shape by constantly touring, constantly singing, and he had 2 years off, and I thought he sounded awesome. I thought that I thought that the his power was the best I've seen it in a long time. And he just sounded great. I mean, what was your overall opinion?
I thought he sounded great too. I mean, the whole band sounded great. I mean, I guess it sounds dumb. It's like, oh, Dream Theater sounded great. Surprise.
All right.
But I think there was a lot of energy on stage. There was a lot of energy in the crowd. I think people were just dying to be out there and be rocking and be at shows again. I've been to a couple shows. Finally this past year, we got to go to Sammy, I think, and I got to see Gojira, but
right.
There's still nothing like seeing Dream Theater live. It's just a whole nother animal.
Yeah. Like I said, I was a little nervous because we had heard, prior to going, that the show was like 2.5 hours and it was only 10 songs. And we were like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. I was wondering how that was going to flow, because it's like, I wondered, like, would it get kind of tiresome having these like minimal breaks, like. But the show ended up just under 2 hours, and I thought that it flowed really well. And I thought it was like I expected to have a fun time, but I was wondering how it was going to sound. And it was kick ass. It was one of the best shows I've seen them do, honestly. And I think that was either my 20th or 21st time seeing them.
I think they picked a great opener and literally the greatest science fiction movie ever made. Thank you, Ridley Scott.
Well, you know what, dude? Before we get to the opening song and the track listing, why don't we bring on Mr. Chance LaBrie from Falset? What is going on, man?
Yo, how are you guys doing?
Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Too. Thanks for having me, and thanks for your patience, guys.
Oh, no problem, man. So right off the bat, we've got you on because you guys have put out a kick-ass new single called Lullabies. So why don't we start out, tell us a little bit about Lullabies and where it came from, and, is it coming off a new record? So give us some background on the song.
So we actually, it's the first single we released off of our new album, Monarch. And Monarch comes out June 10th this year. So, we just felt that this song was a good representation of what the whole album offers. And it's a really strong first single. And so far, we've been getting a really good response to it. So we're stoked.
It's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna. That was actually gonna be my next question, because when I pulled your guys' stuff up on Amazon, it came up under Monarch. So I was like, okay, when's the new record? So
yeah, it's weird. Some streaming services put it as its like own single, and then some put it under our album. That was interesting to us, but we're really excited for everyone to hear the next few singles coming out, as well as the new album. It's really cool.
How many singles are you guys going to drop before June?
3 more, so 4 in total. The next one comes out on March 3rd, actually.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of our buddies is tuning in from Australia. He says hello from Western Australia, Chance, our good buddy Kale. So we got Canada. we got Australia, we got Canada. We're covering all points of the globe here. So So all right, so this is your guys' second record, and obviously you guys, you have the Here We Are EP. So I think as I was listening to your guys' stuff, it almost you can hear like almost a all, and you guys are still a pretty young band in terms of the time you've been together and putting stuff out.
Yeah.
Like you can already hear like kind of like a progression in the songwriting. So, I mean, is that organic? Or are you guys like going for something specific in the sound, like because there's a little bit like as it's moving on, there's a little bit less of the breakdown stuff and a little bit more kind of like riff based kind of parts in there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, is that conscious or how did you guys come about? How'd that come about?
It's definitely something that's conscious, but it's also naturally happening. As we get older, our taste in music changes and develops and matures, and so do the songs we write. So when we were younger, we were a lot more into that heavy stuff, and as we get older, we're changing what we're into. We're into lighter stuff. We're into just a way bigger like way more genres than we were, let's say, in high school. So that definitely shows in this new album for sure.
And what bands are you guys influenced by?
Well, ever since we just dropped this new single, we've been hearing a lot that it sounds like Bring Me the Horizon, not in like a bad way or anything, like a good a good resemblance. And I'd say we all dig them. But other bands we're into are like North Lane. I grew up on Dream Theater. I love Dream Theater. System of a Down, Tesseract, Jason Richardson. Yeah, there's a ton of music we're into. Yeah.
So full disclosure, Chance, the first time we heard Falset was you doing the cover with your dad, the Motley Crue cover.
Nice.
We had an episode where we were doing Dream Theater side projects, and this band Falset comes up, and someone said, "Oh, that's James' son on drums." So I did not know you guys had any original material, and then John told me about the interview. So I went back and I listened to Follow or Lead the Way. I absolutely love the album. I hear a lot of, and
Thanks,
tell me
man.
if I'm wrong, I hear a lot of like the early 30 Seconds to Mars. I don't know if you guys were inspired by them and all. I hear that. I hear Bullet for My Valentine, which are all bands I love. The Bring Me the Horizon, I think is very obvious, but you guys sound killer doing it. Like I love your drumming style is heavy but progressive, and it's very unique. And this just is, I'm not just like trying to brown nose because your dad's in Dream Theater. Like this is legit. Like, dude, you and the bass player, I looked it up. His name is Riley. Is that correct?
Riley.
You guys drive. You guys are definitely driving the sound of this band and driving these songs. Is that kind of just a natural thing for you to approach it that way? And do you feel that you're sort of driving it that way? I know, because it's easy to say a drummer drives a band, but it's not really always true.
Yeah, well, I've always I started off playing guitar, and then I got into drumming. And when I got into drumming, I loved it way more. But for me, I think like all the technical drummers and stuff, they're really cool and all that. But I always was into drummers that really just sat with the band and they were in the pocket and they were tight on top of the beat. And there's like little tasteful things you add in on top of that. But if that strong groove isn't there, then the song's not going to come out to the best of its ability. So I just keep that in the back of my mind when I'm writing drum parts.
Who are some of the drummers that you're influenced besides, I mean, I guess obviously probably Portnoy and Mangini, like who are some of your big time drum influences?
Yeah, Portnoy, Mangini for sure. I'm really into Ray Luzier from Korn.
Yep.
Nick Peterson from North Lane. He's like amazing, like so good. Luke Holland, he's really good. Plays with Jason Richardson. He has a YouTube account. Like you should check out his videos if you haven't. He's insane. Yeah, that's like my main drummers I was inspired by that I can think of on the spot, for sure.
Sweet. What's just curious, what's the one Dream Theater song on drums where you hear it, or the first time you heard it, you're just like, oh my God, what is going on here? What is that?
Well,
do you have multiple?
Yeah, well, I don't know. For me, regardless of like the drum parts, the Count of Tuscany has like always just been a song that's like, oh my God, like I love that song.
You just made a best friend. That's Brian's like all-time favorite Dream Theater song.
I love it. It's so good, man.
When we found out, I got a spoiler that was the encore, but I was like, I didn't care. I mean, and we're not even 24 hours coming off the high of seeing the show, and they ended with that, and I'm still like shaking from it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
it's awesome.
so piggybacking on Brian's question about you and Riley driving the songs. I know that I've gone back and listened to some other interviews you've done, and your singer does like a lot of the songwriting. He brings like the demos and the ideas to you. So when he brings those, do you then get to put your spin on it, or does he pretty much have kind of like a map of, okay, here's what I want to hear, or do you have kind of like creative freedom to go, well, here's what I feel like doing underneath this?
Yeah, I definitely have like all the creative freedom I want to add whatever I want. But a lot of the time, Zach will send me a demo, and he'll always have drums to his demo. And yeah, a lot of the stuff I'll add, my twist to it and change the parts up. But there is a lot of times where what Zach wrote just was perfect and was really cool, actually. I find that there's like a lot of guitarists out there that write really interesting drum parts that drummers wouldn't naturally think of.
Sure. So, all right, with the success of We Follow Her, Lead the Way, you guys obviously established the band firmly. What pressures are you guys facing now that you didn't the first time around?
I'd say less pressures because before we were independent and doing everything ourselves, and now we've grown to be a band that also has a team of people working with us. So there's actually a lot less stress for us now, and we're able to focus more on what we should be focusing on, which is like the music and everything that Falset is.
Sure.
So I want to piggyback on that. What you said, everything that Falset is. So I found something interesting when I went to your website. It is not what you would consider a normal band website that looks like. Like you guys, you basically have like your own almost like clothing design company. Is this correct?
Yeah.
So is that a conscious decision to do that with the website?
Definitely. We wanted to brand out falset.co. We want that to be its own entity that we can, as the band grows and as we become more successful, it won't just be clothing, it'll be more than that. And we just we're all very, business minded people. So we don't just go into anything we do without thinking about the best way to capitalize on everything. So from the start, we were like, what are we going to do differently for merch? Let's like build this cool different website, falset.co. It's its own thing. And it's been really cool. People love the stuff on it.
There's some awesome stuff on there. I got to admit though, for John and I, because I'm old, I'm like 50 some. So the only thing I can probably get is the dad hat or the hoodie. I will look awful in those t-shirts, and I don't know if I can. I love the band, but I'm not sure about an iPhone case holder that says Falset on it. I mean, I would still do it probably. I'm just saying, but yeah, that's very, very cool, man, that you guys are thinking like in such a 2022 kind of we are in this world of like, hey, it's a brand, like you said, it's not just a band, and what better way to market it than you got your name plastered all over a bunch of cool stuff that people want.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah.
So a lot of people talk about, I mean, this is obviously a big point of contention with musicians and stuff, the whole Spotify and streaming, and you don't make money off of record sales and stuff like that. But you guys are in your early 20s, so you brought the band up and put the band together while this was a thing. I mean, do you and knowing what your dad had to go through before he was in Dream Theater, to build a local band, the air quotes, the old school way. Do you think it's actually a beneficial thing to have all this digital technology at your fingertips, like, because you don't have to really like go out and hand people flyers or sell people stuff physically? Like, do you think there's actually a lot of benefits to it? Because a lot of people think that it's kind of killing the industry, but for a band like your guys, how do you see it?
Well, I think you have to always adapt with change, and if you're against it, you're just going to get lost in the past. So you're just like a slave to whatever, is in, and we're slave to the way it is now, which is it's all digital and it's streaming. And I think there's definitely a lot of pros to it, but there's definitely a lot of cons to it. It's easier for bands to get heard and get out there now, but there's no doubt about it. Back in the day, if you were a band that was making it, you were making way more money. So there's definitely pros and cons to both.
So I'd assume that that's basically the whole idea behind Falset.co, that, it's a band, but it's also almost like its own separate entity in a way.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's like, beyond the band, like it's got our band name on it, but we also have this clothing business. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure. As we grow and get more money into the band, we want to do more stuff than just like the typical band stuff. We want to go into more business avenues than most bands do.
sure.
So what's like the best piece of advice that your dad gave you when he discovered that, hey, you have this talent and you're gonna put all you have into this? Like, what's the one thing he told you that stuck with you the most?
The one thing he said was, if you're gonna do something, like, you got to put 110% into it. And that stuck with me because literally me and my whole band will drain our bank accounts into this band. We'll work full-time jobs, part-time jobs, and we'll put everything into it because we know that we can always just go make more money, and it fuels our band and allows our band to grow and allows us to get more awareness and get out there and play these shows and get the gear we need and do everything. So his advice to me, which I tell everyone, is like, if you're going to do something, like, put 110% into it, or it's not worth it at all.
Yeah,
So-
that makes sense. I've always thought that, like, drive, you obviously have talent, but like drive will always, like, that'll always overtake talent, in the long
100%.
run. And if you got both, then it's like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree.
So obviously you guys, what is the first date tomorrow or is it Saturday? Like, you guys are doing those 4 Canadian dates, with
Yeah.
Dream Theater.
Yeah.
So how much, touring have you guys done so far? Like what's the most extensive amount of, either, regional touring or, what, like, how much have you guys done? Because these are high profile shows that you're doing right here.
Yeah,
For, the next.
These are definitely the biggest shows we've done. And as far as touring, we've done little runs here and there, just in Ontario. So this is definitely bigger than we've ever done. We got to play Warped Tour. We got to play opening for All That Remains at one show. So those were like bigger shows for us, but this is definitely the biggest. And yeah, we're stoked. The first date's Saturday for us. So we actually head out tomorrow to head to Quebec City.
And now, are you feeling any like added pressure just because you're James's kid and people know that, so going up there, it's not, oh, check out Falset. Like, a lot of Dream Theater fans, they're pretty savvy. They keep up with stuff, so they're like, okay, well, this is James's kid, so of course he gets this spot to open for Dream Theater. Like, is there any added pressure from that, or is it almost like a lack of pressure?
Definitely not a lack of pressure, but I'm not like worried about the fans and that kind of pressure. It's more like I've grown up around Dream Theater and the crew and all the guys, and it's more about like pressure from them. It's like the first time your uncle comes to a show or something like that. I'm more worried about Dream Theater watching me side stage than any of the crowd. That's what I'm more worried about. I want to impress my dad's coworkers,
That's, you look over Mike Mangini's like, nope, you blew that one, dude. Nope, that you messed that Phil.
Mike, like, we need to have a talk after.
Yeah, let me show you something, kid.
So what song do you think that they would let you sit in on, or if they would let you sit in, which hopefully they would?
What do you mean? Like on drums?
Yeah.
Never.
Never?
No.
No?
If you could sit in on a song and it wasn't Count of Tuscany, what would you sit in on?
I don't know. I definitely go for one of their more simple songs. That's for sure. Panic Attack would be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So how, I mean, obviously, James is your dad, so that's an obvious answer. But how did the opportunity to do these 4 shows come up outside of just, okay, James is like, hey, I'm going to play with my kid? Like, was there more to it, or was it really that simple?
Well, because of COVID, it's easier for them to have a different opening act in Canada than the States. And when they found out that they were doing it that way, Dream Theater's management actually said, hey, like, Falset's doing pretty good. Like, what about them? And my dad's like, hell yeah, that's a great idea. And then they brought it up to us and we're like, please, like, yes, please sign us up. Where do we sign?
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
now, do you guys get a tour bus or are you driving yourselves?
We're taking out 2 trucks with us. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So, I mean, has there been talk of you guys potentially down the road doing like, like a US leg with them at any point, or?
Not with them, but we just signed to Dynamic Talent International, our agency. So we're definitely trying to get into the States as soon as possible. Hopefully this summer. We want to just go to the States and never leave. Just keep touring the whole thing.
Yeah, I saw another interview that you did, and you had mentioned that there's not a lot of metalheads in Canada. So, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with what I said before. Maybe that chance is wrong. There's a lot of metalheads, but not when you're like comparing it to the States.
So are there opportunities? Go ahead. Sorry,
when you
Brian.
told me that, John, sorry. When you told me that, I think I rephrased it. I think there's probably not a lot of young metalheads. Maybe there's a lot of old metalheads. Is probably probably more like it.
Yeah,
but
and I think there is a strong like young metal fan base too. But again, it's just like you have Toronto as a stop, you have a couple places in Quebec as a stop, and then you maybe have the West Coast as a stop, and then you're out of Canada. Whereas the States, like you're there for 4 weeks straight.
Yep. So our buddy from Australia has a question for you. So he says, since you are touring with Dream Theater, do you think there's there will be an opportunity to see you guys play "Kickstart My Heart" with James as a special song somewhere?
I don't know. Maybe you'll have to wait and find out.
I love it.
Well, I don't know if he can make it to Canada from Australia, but if there's anybody that would do it, it'd be Kale. He'd figure out a way to get there.
He definitely would, man.
Now that he knows we're doing Kickstart, he's got to come.
Yeah.
Kale, buy that plane ticket.
For real though, we're not doing that. That'd be cool though. We talked about that. It got brought up a few times, but it's not going to happen.
So, I mean, obviously, going back to, acceptance from the Dream Theater fan base, it's a discerning fan base, and people know that you're James's son, it's your band. I mean, so obviously a lot of fans will give you, for lack of a better term, like a passing grade because they know you're James's son, they know your talent, but at the same time, I mean, you're going to be judged by some really hardcore fans potentially, like under a much more scrutinous microscope. I mean, how are you going to handle that criticism? That ultimately really has nothing to do with how you perform on stage.
It's fine. Like I've seen my dad deal with those guys his whole life. And I just ignore it really. And besides, like, we're going to kick ass. So I don't think there'll be many people saying that shit. Yeah.
I love it, man. That's awesome.
How mad does it get you when the people, because it infuriates us, some of the stuff that people say about your dad, and if he has an off night once in a while, or he's not feeling well or whatever, does that just burn you, or like, hey, my dad gives all he can, I don't even care about what these idiots think?
Yeah. No, I don't know. Like, I think it used to bother me, like when I was younger and getting on Facebook and then seeing any hate, like I'd be like, what the hell? But I ignore it now 100%.
Yeah, I think you almost have to, right? Otherwise it just drive you crazy.
Yeah. And for every one person that's like shitting on the band, there's like 10 other people that are like praising them. So
yep, that's for sure.
So Riley, now you guys all live within pretty close proximity to each other, except for Riley. Isn't Riley like 6 hours away from you guys or something like that?
Yeah, like 5-6 hours away. Yeah.
So so when you guys are writing like new material, do you do the whole internet thing, like sending files back and forth? Did you guys actually have an opportunity to get together physically and write in a room?
No, we don't. We don't do the typical write in a room thing like the old school days. It actually, like, we all have studios within our own home. So it starts with Zach writing in his studio, and then he sends it to me. I play around with the drums, send it back to the guys. What do they think? And then Riley comes in after the drums are done, adds his flair to the bass parts. And yeah, like it's all done remotely. And then what we do is we have Riley come up every once in a while, and we get some jams in and do whatever we got to do together.
So
we're talking on a daily basis. So
sure. So how did you meet Riley? Has he always been that far away, or because I know you guys formed in high school? So did you all go to high school and he moved away, or was it
No,
No.
so Zach and I are the only ones left from like what Falset was in high school.
Okay.
Our ex-vocalist Mike, who sang on our first EP, he actually found Riley when we were looking for a bassist back in 2018, I believe. And yeah, I think he found him on like Kijiji or something like that, like a Craigslist kind of website. And yeah, we just really got along with Riley, and the 6-hour drive didn't really seem like a problem to us. But now, if we had known then what we're dealing with, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, Riley's great. Yeah.
So you said that you started out on guitar. So, obviously you said, Zach, does a lot of the writing, sends you guys stuff. Do you ever like present riffs, or is it, or are you solely just putting like the drum parts to it? Do you ever like originate any of this stuff?
Solely just the drum parts for the most part. There has been a riff before that was used, but yeah, just drums for the most part. Yeah.
Speaking of guitar, I noticed on the follower lead the way you have to get all the way to the last song, basically Smoke and Mirrors, until you actually almost get what I kind of consider a guitar solo. Was that like a conscious thing on the album? Like you just didn't want a lot of solos, or there's that very kind of, it's a very lyrical, it's what John and I talk about, that lyrical, majestic way that Petrucci plays, and there's those melodies coming
Right.
in a guitar solo there that I don't hear on the entire rest of the album. And it's very cool because I was like, wow, I didn't hear this on the rest of the album. I love all the playing, but this kind of came out of nowhere on this song, which was awesome.
Yeah, well, I think like from high school to now, it's like gradually become less and less and less guitar solos. But we still throw a guitar solo in where it makes sense every few songs we write. But yeah, I think on that album there's just like a couple guitar solos.
I think when I was talking to John too, what I love bands that can mix the heavy and the clean, and it's like if it's all heavy, then it's just, to me, you lose the heaviness of it. It's the balance of it. But you guys, it's crazy because I'm listening to your songs and I'm like, okay, you got the song that starts heavy and then it goes clean. You got the ones that are clean the whole way through. Then all of a sudden at the end, you got the heavy vocals. It's like you never know where it's coming from. It's like just a perfect blend. Like it doesn't seem like there's any, I don't use the word consistency, but I like how there's not that consistency. So I'm excited to see on this new album, how you've even grown more from that. Cause it's like,
Yeah.
it seems like you're good at like like changing it up enough to where it doesn't seem formulaic, and you got all these layers, like the vocals are layered so many times, and there's cool keyboards coming in, the guitars have effects on them, and your drumming's all over the place, and it's like it's creating these big sonic landscapes. And that's why I always mention like bands like 30 Seconds to Mars, the early stuff. That's just what really hits me. And I don't know, like I said, if that's what you're going for, but that's the way it comes off, and I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we've heard you said Bullet and 30 Seconds to Mars, right? We've heard those before,
Yep.
but we're actually not like I like 30 Seconds to Mars, but I've never like deep dived into their stuff before. Yeah.
So what's up next for you guys after these Dream Theater dates? What, you got the record coming out in June, so beyond the Dream Theater dates, and you're gearing up for the record coming out. What's next on your guys' plate?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, we got some new singles coming out. The next one is March 3rd, and then we got 2 more after that coming out. The new album's coming out in June. We're shooting some music videos in March when we get back from tour. Yeah. And then like we're gonna try and book more tours like in the States whenever we can get over there.
Well, you'll at least have me and Brian coming out for sure. So
Awesome.
it'll be
Hell yeah,
awesome,
man.
awesome to catch you guys live.
Sweet.
So thank you very much for coming on. Before we let you go, I caught a part of another interview you did, and I have to ask a non-music question because I also have a Star Wars podcast, and I heard you say that you are a huge Star Wars guy, or at least pretty big fan.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
The Empire Strikes Back, I'd have to say, probably.
That was kind of iffy. You're like wavering between
Yeah,
one.
because I don't know, like I'm not like Star Wars fans are like Dream Theater fans in that they are like hardcore. When I say I'm a Star Wars fan, like I'm not like a crazy Star Wars fan, So, but I love the movies.
Awesome.
But
Well,
yeah,
again,
I need to brush up on all the Star Wars stuff.
Well, if we get to catch you here, man, I'll find a way to get backstage and we'll go over some Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, well, Chance, thank you so much for making time to come on the show, man. I really appreciate it. And man, best of luck with the new record and safe travels on these tour dates coming up, man. Thanks a lot.
Well, thanks so much for having me, guys. It's been fun.
Anytime, man.
Thanks,
The record
buddy.
kicks ass.
Thank you.
Good luck, man. Take care.
Appreciate it, man.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks. Well, there he goes. Chance LaBrie from Falset. That was awesome. So how are you feeling? You asked a couple questions there. It took about 5 minutes to get into it.
Sorry, man. Well, it's always kind of weird, like it's like Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was very cool talking to him. And he seems so down to earth. And that thing about his dad was like, that the advice is like, hey, man, just give, if this is what you're gonna do, then bust your ass as much as humanly possible doing it, and that's what he's doing, obviously. And he has, there's no doubt he's got the talent, and they've got now that they have the drive, you hope the best for him,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love his answer about the website, because I mean it's such a brilliant way to go about things, to have, okay, here's our band's website so you can find our music, but check out our clothing line. It's like a whole separate business, but kind of tied together. I mean, it's just such a smart way to go, and who said it in the chat? Brandon Charles, he said, super smart with the state of the industry nowadays. And it really is. I mean, it's a great way to go about things, man.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like the LeBronization of everything, basically. It's a brand. I mean, Michael Jordan, I guess, started originally, but LeBron kind of took it to a whole new level. And it's like, hey, if you're a musician now, you might as well, jump on and whatever you can do to get your name out there,
Yep. Well, so thanks again to Chance LaBrie for coming on. That was awesome. If you guys are up in Canada, they're doing the 4 Canadian dates coming up here this weekend and early next week. So go check them out. Let us know what you guys thought about the show. Obviously, the new record Monarch is coming out in June, so check that out. Also, their new single Lullabies. They're a fucking kick-ass band. Pardon the F-bomb, but I'm with you, dude. I really like the album. It's really good. So, all right. Well, why don't we dig into last night's show? We, before Chance came on, we talked about, the pre-show hangout that we did in the trivia contest, and let's get into the set, man. I mean, obviously, everybody knows that, they opened with Alien, and I tried to remain spoiler-free, but I got a spoiler in the bathroom before the show, of all places, and somebody said,
is that what you crazy kids are calling it these days? Sorry, I got a spoiler in the bathroom.
Well, I did. It was like
some guy to a whole new low now.
Some guy's washing his hands, and he's like, "Man, they're only playing one song prior to 2000." I was like, "You son of a bitch!" Like, I made it all the way to the show without getting any friggin' spoilers, and it's like a half hour before showtime, and I get that dropped on me. I was like, "Damn it." Joe Gebhardt, good to see you, man. He says, will this jumpstart future interviews more geared to possibly get band members on? Well,
no, we don't want band members on our Dream Theater podcast.
Yeah,
come on, dude. Seriously?
Yeah. No, the band is not welcome on our Dream Theater podcast. Dream Theater's not welcome here. We're hoping, man. That would be awesome if we could get the guys on. So we do not know, but hopefully we get lucky and we can get one of the guys on, or a couple of the guys. We'll see. So, all right. So we got the Alien, and then
leading into your spoiler, you said there was only one song pre-2000, right?
Yep, and it was the second song in the set. You're going to pull a one-liner, aren't you?
It was either halfway to noon or halfway to midnight, depending on your perspective.
Good Lord, we're going to do this, aren't we?
We are.
So track number 2 was 6 o'clock. And I'm so glad that I did not catch any set list spoilers, because the Alien is such a great song. And, get to the end of the Alien, I'm like, okay, now what's coming? And you get, I'm like, oh, yes. So 6 o'clock comes in, and it was, oh, my God, it was so awesome to hear that one. I was a little bummed knowing that that was the only song prior to 2000, because I was holding out hope for something from Falling Into Infinity. And
I told you that was a pipe dream. I knew there was no way, not on this tour.
Well, Trial of Tears, man. Why not Trial of Tears?
I just didn't see it happening.
Well, I didn't see it happening either. I didn't see it happen last night. It's not happening on this whole tour. So there we go.
No,
But,
I loved hearing 6 o'clock live. You know, like I said before, there's certain songs that translate way better live, and you know, I've always said before, I don't really love the mix on Awake. Everyone else is like, oh, the mix is amazing, and I'm insane, which
yeah.
not the first
All
time
right.
someone's called me insane, but you
All
know,
right.
6 o'clock live is awesome, dude. Sounded great.
Yes. All right. So I guess we're allowed to say this because Aiken posted it in the chat. The real answer, Joe Gebhardt, is yes. It's being worked on for once the tour is over. So we are trying to get some of the guys on. It'll be one of the upcoming episodes because there's like I think it's like a 3-week break or something like that between the end of the U.S. tour leg and then the start of the European leg. So we're trying to get one of the guys on to talk to us and do like kind of like a tour wrap up. So I didn't want to say for sure because I don't know what we're allowed to talk about, what we're not. But yeah, Chris Aiken runs CMS Network and Heavy Metal Television. He's the one helping us out. And so there you go. So we may have some of the Dream Theater guys on. So we will definitely post that as soon as we are able to. But
does that mean we passed the Chance LaBrie test? Because we were nervous, man. Like we thought this was like basically an audition to see if we can, because like it's like I kind of go back to what we were talking about, the fan meetup thing. Like you and we don't want to be those people that like bother the band to get them on. You know, we want to just like have fun doing this, prevent a quality product for people to interact, and then have them find out about it and want to be on. You know, we don't want to be like bugging. Hey, can you know, that's why we're not like bugging Chance. Hey, make sure your dad gets on the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, like we seriously don't want to be those kind of guys because those kind of guys are insanely annoying. It's like, so it's like if this all progresses like in a natural, organic way, then it's going to be even more, you know, more fun and more. We're going to get a lot more out of it that way too, don't you think?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, and you're right. It's, you know, kind of like we talked about at the start of the show when we met up with, you know, the fan club yesterday. We didn't want to come barreling into the table and going, we got a podcast. Like that's just such a dick move. It's, you know, we brought it up and, you know, we definitely want, you know, people to check it out and that's awesome. But you don't want to just go in there like, you know, like a freaking, you know, commercial. So look, Gibson Les Paul, I bet it ain't my young. You know, it'd be awesome if it was. We get like one of the super rare John Mayung interviews. That would be awesome.
So how was the last tour? Good. You know, I gotta say something. I was gonna save it till the end, but like, just watching. Okay, when the show's completely over and they all got to come out, and like he just walks out there and he just has this look on his face, like, I really got to do this. Like, I mean, it's not totally like that, but you just wonder, like, how much does he just hate the idea of like just getting the recognition? You know, like he just seems like a guy. He just wants to play his bass and be left alone, which is awesome. I love that, but it's like he trots out there and it's like it's all he can do to barely get the corners of his lips to go up for a smile. You know,
Right.
It's like literally like one of the greatest musicians and bass players of all time, and it's like he doesn't want anyone to tell him he's great. He doesn't care. You know, he doesn't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, he's not into the rock star trip, man. It's you know what, like what Eddie Van Halen used to say. He's like, I'm not a rock star, I'm a musician, and that's definitely the outlook that, you know, John Mayung has, and it's admirable. I mean, you know, with a band like those guys, you know, as Chance, you know, pointed out, you know, Dream Theater fans are super hardcore, and you know, can be over the top. I mean, I'm admittedly one of those. I'm a fanboy, and you know, he doesn't get into that trip at all. He just is like, look, dude, I just want to play. So,
well, this is a good segue. Speaking of my young, I had never seen this before. For song 3,
yes.
Hey, someone go tell Dad that nap time is over. There was
For the love of God.
There was a capo on the bass guitar.
The third song is Awaken the Master. Brian apparently is going to announce all 10 songs of the set list in literal terms.
Well, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but then you're telling the song title again anyway, so it's like,
well, but yeah.
Plus,
so
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, track 3 it was Awaken the Master, and to your point, if you go on our Facebook page, my buddy Jimmy that we went to the show with got an awesome picture of it. Mayung was playing the bass with a capo, and I was like, I have never seen that ever. I couldn't believe it. I was
Yeah,
like,
it must be
what the
something
hell?
to do with something to do with that 8 string and how low that is or whatever, and you don't want to be that low on the bass with it, or maybe that was the way to get it in open strings or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was weird. I never saw that before. He also, I noticed, there was an iPad in front of him, and I don't know what was on that, if it was like, because he's a guy that like you never see like remotely even looking at anything for like short, chords or charts. And not that I would ever fault anyone. I mean, Jordan has his music on the iPad up there too. So I don't know if maybe because this was like, hey, we're doing all of these songs. Most of them are 10, 12, 15 minutes. We're doing all of our epics, and some of these they haven't played in a while. Maybe there's some notes on there. I don't, I'm not going to speculate that that's what it was. Maybe it was some lyric sheets of Case James is running over there or something. We don't know for sure, but I did notice it over there, and I thought it was a little interesting.
Yeah, when I caught that, I was like, "Holy crap!" I mean, you and I looked at each other like, "Is that a capo on the bass?" Like,
Yep.
wow. So, well, Kale is giving us a little bit of a musical explanation. He says, "Weird, but I suppose 8-string tuning is F sharp, so he wouldn't need much below the 2nd fret of the E string." Okay, I'm terrible with notes and stuff like that. I'm self-taught and poorly so, and I'm bad with notes. So I wouldn't be able to speak to that, so I'll
look at Kale all schooling us on chords and stuff.
chords. So another set list surprise came up with the 4th song, "Endless Sacrifice."
You didn't even give me a chance on that one, are you?
All right, give your one-liner. Go.
No,
for it.
I don't have. That's actually the one I don't have a good one for. So just skip it. I mean, I know the others have been amazing, but that one's really bad. So yeah, skip it.
But,
yeah, so that was the one that I had told you. I was like, well, there's one you don't know about, and then I think you and I were both thinking that it was something. I think you were thinking it was something different. I'm like, no, there's no way in hell that this is coming, because you would have probably already crapped your pants, because I know you have a special place in your heart for a lot of that heavy stuff on Train of Thought, and which most of it is. And I was like, I can't wait to see John's face. And then they started it, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was thrilled. I was like, it never even crossed my mind. I was trying to think yesterday morning of all of the longer songs that they could play, and I completely skipped over a couple obvious ones, and this was one of them. And so when they went into that clean guitar part, I was like, whoa, oh my god, yes, like, and it was awesome, and it sounded great, and it was so cool, because you don't really ever get to hear anything off a Train of Thought except for the few times that they'll do As I Am. And so to hear that record touched on again was really cool. So that was definitely a welcome surprise.
Well, speaking of welcome surprises.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Did you want me to comment on Endless Sacrifice? No,
I was going to say the next song's all for you, man.
Oh, okay. So then we go into I can't even read this. It's so stupid.
You wrote these things down?
All right.
You wrote down your jokes?
All right. So we go to song
God.
5, which is structurally sound, safe passages over water contained within some dude, which is Bridges in the Sky. But I guess actually it's Bridges in the Sky.
What the hell is wrong with you, man?
So this was like, anyway, the second I wish. No, but okay, joking aside, I wish people had seen the look on your face the second that shaman chant started. Like, all I saw was like when Scooby-Doo like does and then you see like that dust or whatever. Like, you booked it so fast to the beer stand. The second you heard that shaman intro, like, I mean, you were out of there. You're like, hey, what do you want? I'm out of here. I'm gonna go get a beer. Like, you were not gonna sit there and listen to something off a Dramatic Turn of Events. It just was not gonna happen.
Well, I didn't know it was coming up, but I knew I wanted a beverage. And then I heard that. I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to miss part of something, I guess it should be, something off of Dramatic Turn. Like, I like the record, but it's like I didn't know what else was coming. I was like, okay, this one, if I have to miss part of it, I'm not going to hate myself. And it was loud enough, in the lobby that I could hear perfectly. So
yeah, no, that was my one. That was my one big surprise, because I'd already heard some of the other spoilers, unfortunately, but that was the one that I did, I just figured they would completely ignore that album. But I was awesome to hear that, because that's probably my second favorite song on that album. So
sure,
I was hyped for that one.
Going back to Endless Sacrifice, our buddy Robert Ream says, Endless Sacrifice was so good. Glad to hear that one. And Sandy Kuima Ferrati says that song kicked butt. So Gibson Les Paul. Wait, John left during Bridges? Unsubscribed. Scruffy, another newbie in the chat. Welcome to the show, man. He says he or she, excuse me, says Bridges in the Sky was super heavy and amazing. I have to admit, like, as much as I did have to miss part of the song because I was, grabbing some beverages for us. It sounded great, man. I mean, that song translates live so well. I've seen it a few times, and God, it sounds great. I mean, it really was. I thought it was a great choice. I mean, the whole set list just, man, it flowed together so well. Like we were talking about.
We'll see about that in a couple songs.
So
we had one minor hiccup that there's no way I'm going to let slide, and you already know that. So
me and you both. So after Bridges in the Sky, go ahead and read your next joke before we get to the
I don't even think
song.
I want to read this one. All right, beast that is undetectable in the visual sense.
Invisible monster.
Yeah,
I can't believe you're doing this. We get all these new people to watch the show, and you pull out handwritten jokes, man. That is.
I think
fantastic.
you're using the term joke very liberally here. Yeah, I think we knew this one was coming. I think we knew they were going to play roughly 4 songs. I would have preferred Transcending Time over this personally, if we could have had another song from the new album, but. This is kind of a weird. I think James has described this as sort of a quintessential Dream Theater song, but I don't think it is. I think it's a little, I don't know, a little poppier maybe. Would you go along with that? Or to me, it doesn't feel that Dream Theater-ish. I think it's kind of more unique than we maybe think it is, and I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I like the song. I don't think poppy would be the word I would use. I think I would kind of say like straightforward.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't really have the huge proggy moments in it. I think that this song would have fit well on our gateway songs episode. I think this would be one to show people that they have an amazing grasp of melody, and there's some clean guitars, there's heavy guitars, so I wouldn't say poppy, but I would say a little more straightforward. So Robert Husted, great point. I was actually just about to say that. Robert Husted says, I wanted them to play Sleeping Giant instead of Invisible Monster, but it still sounded amazing. Yes, that's the one I was hoping to hear too. I'm a huge fan of Sleeping Giant. I really like that song.
It's funny because we talked about that not that long ago, and I said it was my least favorite song on the album. So of course you love it,
Go figure. Sandy Kuima Ferrati says their music video for Invisible Monster with the band is super cool. Yes, I would completely agree with that. Our buddy Wayne Joyner did a fantastic job on all the videos, honestly. And dude, I will say that we heard a lot of people talking about the visuals of the stage show last night, and Wayne was getting all kinds of props, man, because it looked fantastic. So, all right. So after Invisible Monster. Now let's get into the part that was an enormous tease, I think. Do you have a joke for this one too?
We had heard rumors about a very cold temperature with a looming loss of vehicular control on the horizon.
Oh my God! See, look. Aiken calls you out. Aiken says, "Knock, knock. Who's there? Orange? Orange who? Orange? You glad Brian incorporated Dream Theater into his '60s joke book?"
Hey, these aren't '60s jokes. These are like '70s.
By the way, I think I'm butchering Sandy's last names because she says you could just call me Sandy. she's like, stop destroying my name, you tool. But all right. So what Brian was trying to say was, song 7 was About to Crash from 6 Degrees, and anytime we get anything off of 6 Degrees, it is a wonderful moment. It was awesome, and because we had heard that they were playing nothing but long songs, I immediately thought, holy crap, are they going to play 6 Degrees? And
yeah, we were trying to do the concert math there on the time. Like we were like, well, let's see, they've got this many more songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It was like we flip-flopped, I think, halfway through the song, like, do they have time to play the whole thing and then still play, I don't know, what was essentially 3 more songs after that or whatever we have left?
Yep.
And I don't know. We thought yes, then we thought no, and then we thought yes, and then.
Well, Kale says, it's not a tease. If it was a tease, you'd have had the overture as well. No, Kale, it was a tease because we were hoping they were going to go into the rest of 6 Degrees, and instead we got what Brian called a minor hiccup. We got the Ministry of Lost Souls.
Yeah, that
Fine song, but Brian and I are not the biggest fans of it. So when you're
man.
hoping for 6 Degrees and you get Ministry of Lost Souls, we were like, shit.
Yeah, it's like here comes the Department of Missing Shoe Bottoms. Yay! You know that was rough. No, dude. Like we both were aware of the spoiler, right? We knew this song was coming,
yes.
And we're like, wait a minute. So they're only playing 10 songs, and one of them is the Ministry of Lost Souls.
Yeah.
So there's 15 minutes of our 10 songs like down the drain right there.
Yeah.
And you know, once we get towards the middle of the end of this, it's not. You know, I don't. It doesn't annoy me as much, but I just think it's such a dragger when it starts, and I don't know. This song has just never done anything for me. It's probably literally the one song in the catalog where I don't have any interest in hearing it. But it seems like, does it seem like an odd choice to you to pull out for something like this, or is it like a no-brainer when you're going for epics?
No, I actually thought it was a really smart choice because, I mean, like you said, like, you know, the length of it, first of all, fits well, but it's also something, you know, they don't touch on a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you know, outside of Dark Eternal Night, they don't really revisit the Systematic Chaos record very much. So, you know, and especially, you know, the back half of the record. And so I thought it was a cool choice. And, you know, admittedly, while I'm not the biggest fan of the song, you know, same as you, I thought it translated live really well. I actually enjoyed it. And, you know, like you said, like about 2/3 of the way through when it speeds up and everything, like I thought it was cool. I thought, you know, I liked it. Gibson Les Paul, he says, I'll say it again, the Systematic Chaos Deep Dive is my most anticipated episode. Maybe 2 weeks from now? Well, we may have other fish to fry in 2 weeks. We'll see. But yeah, we can do that one. Should we put that next on our list of episodes? We can do Systematic Chaos. What do you think?
Yeah, that works for me.
All right. I mean, even though Gibson Les Paul is going to get his ass banned from the chat for about the 17th time, we can definitely take a request. But Robert Husted, you don't want to hear Repentance live? LOL. You know me too well, man. You know me too well. All right. So after Ministry of Lost Souls, and of course we get to song number 9, the title track from the new record, which is, go ahead, Rita.
No, I'm not doing these anymore. They're not going over quite as well as I thought.
Oh my god!
And they only got worse from the. You know, if you thought they started out great, and they're gradually getting worse. Yeah, they get a lot worse. So yeah, no, we knew we were getting the title track from the album "View from the Top of the World," and I was glad, like, because that song has really kind of grown on me. I think the first time I heard it, I was like, I think it translates pretty well live. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I actually hadn't listened to the new record recently. So yesterday morning while I was working, I actually put it in, and I was like, man, this is like everyone describes it as a grower, and I think it definitely is, because I got, you know, more out of it yesterday than I have previously. I'm like, oh, you know, I forgot about this part. I like this part. And I think, you know, the perfect example of that is the title track, because when I got to that song, I was like, man, I really like most of this. And it was really cool. So hearing it live was fantastic. I mean, it sounded great. It was a perfect, you know, show closer. You know, it's not on the same level as like Octavarium was, but you know, it's close. I mean, they did a great job, and it sounds fantastic live. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like a lot of Petrucci's, like those little clean, you know, when I was looking over at you, those little parts I love, you know, those little clean little riffs, you know, that he just, you know, you got your heavier part, you got your orchestration to start, then your heavier stuff, and then it's kind of just those little clean little just fills and riffs he just puts in there that just, that guitar just sings behind the keyboards that are going, you know, and you got that backdrop behind it, like with the waterfall and everything in the album cover, like, you know, those killer images, you know, and it was like, I don't know, there was people like on tight ropes and stuff and all that, and mountain climbers and yeah, that was badass, man.
Yep. Kale says they've played Systematic on all but 2 tours with Mangini, and I think that makes it all but 2 since its release, because I'm pretty sure Prophets of War was on Black Clouds and Silver Linings. No, Prophets of War was that's Systematic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Systematic.
Yeah, Systematic Cast. Gibson Les Paul, Prophets of Gorilla Farts.
Oh boy.
Oh, the gorilla farts are legendary on our show. Oh my God. I think we're gonna set up another fan hangout show here coming up, probably like late spring, early summer, and I think I'm stuck doing the damn gorilla fart shots on the air again, because that's just gonna be like a that's gonna be like a thing. But so we got one more song, and you obviously were thrilled about this. So the encore was The Count of Tuscany. So I'll let you talk about this one, because I know that you were stoked as hell to see this.
Oh man, literally the day after the first tour date, I make the mistake. I go on Facebook or I go on Blabbermouth or whatever, and it's like the second thing I see is like, here's a video of Count of Tuscany. So it's like, dang it. But at the same time, you're like, oh my God. So I was like, I couldn't be mad that one was spoiled. But like, if I had no idea, I don't even know what I would have done. I would have like completely just totally lost my mind if I had no idea that was coming. Like,
yep.
But it was like just set up for and it was awesome because Chance like literally said that like that's his favorite song, and it's like, I don't know, man. There's just something so powerful about that song. It just, the intro starts out and then Petrucci, every time I hear it, the hair stands up on the back of my neck. I've said it a million times. I mean, he starts playing that little lead. My only complaint was the first lead that Jordan does, with that little Moog thing. Like, I wish that it sounded like the volume wasn't up enough on it, but because that's like kind of my second favorite part of the song. But other than that, man, yeah, it was just. I mean, I don't know if there's any song that you could. Maybe Breaking All Illusions. I don't know. I mean, is there a better song to end a Dream Theater night with? Maybe you'll say, Trial of Tears or something because you love the song. But
no,
but I mean, if you really think about it, like, I mean, what song is a better way to end a Dream Theater show? I don't know. I can't think of one.
I would have to take time to think about it, because I mean, there isn't one that jumps out immediately, because it was an awesome encore.
Yeah.
Sandy says, I took my son. His favorite is The Count of Tuscany. He wasn't spoiled. Watching him was the best moment of the show.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's it was great, dude. And I mean, honestly, like playing A View from the Top of the World back to back with, Count of Tuscany was a kick-ass way to end the show. Couple more comments here on View from the Top of the World. Sandy, again, she says, on View, from about 3 minutes to about 18 minutes, has some of the best music I've heard for quite a while. The song only falls behind most of the other epics because the end is meh for me. And Brandon Charles says, for me, View from the Top of the World has risen to the level of Octavarium. Wow, that's high praise, man. So, a lot of fans for that. All right, so Robert Reams says he thinks that Metropolis Part 1 is like the perfect way to end a Dream Theater show. And Nick Brayman, he is voting for Learning to Live, but Tuscany was great, he said. So
I cannot argue either of those. You know my love for Metropolis.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, dude, overall, the show was awesome. And I got to say, like, I was pleasantly surprised, because I'm always afraid of, this sounds kind of stupid to say, but you don't really realize the passage of time until you look back and go, holy shit. Like, because when I was thinking about it, I was talking to our buddy Tommy yesterday, and he had mentioned, in the chat a few episodes ago, he said, this would be my 14th time seeing Dream Theater. And I started thinking, I was like, well, how many times is it for me? And I think I forgot one of the shows. So yesterday was either my 20th or 21st time seeing the band. And when I thought about it, I'm like, oh my God, I've been seeing this band since '99 on every single tour. And it doesn't really hit you until you really quantify it like that. And then you start wondering, like, okay, these guys are in their late 50s. Like, when is it going to finally, they have to start tuning down, and, when, obviously tuning down, when is James just not going to be able to hit any high notes, stuff like that. And so I'm always nervous, like, is that going to happen at this show when I go see him? And yesterday I was like, man, especially with the 2-year break, and I got to tell you, man, they sounded kick ass. I mean, James's voice was so powerful, and he didn't hit all of the high notes, but he hit most of them. And the notes that he chose instead of the really high stuff, I thought was really complimentary. And it wasn't like super low to where it was obvious that I'm not trying to hit a high note. Like it sounded great. I mean, what did you think?
Yeah, so let's see. I think I figured out you and I saw him 5 times, and I'd seen him twice before that. So I'm at 7 total, which that's a pretty decent amount to see one band.
Yeah, for sure.
Over the course of their career. Yeah, I mean I just knew I don't know. I knew that James would sound. I don't want to use the term good enough, but I knew he would sound fine, and that even sounds kind of meh-ish, But I just didn't think he would go out there if he couldn't sound really good.
Yep.
He knows enough to how to take care of his voice and take care of his body and stuff, and the way they maybe laid out the set, maybe that helped him. And like you'd said before, all the stuff on the new album, it looks like they've kind of tried to keep it a little bit of a lower range. Although, like you say that, but then you get to like Alien in the chorus, and some of the stuff at the end of that song, you're like, well, it's actually getting up there higher than you even thought. And some of the stuff in Endless Sacrifice is super high too. But I thought he sounded great. And he does that thing where it's like you don't have to sing every part of every chorus. You can get the crowd to yell out some of the stuff, and that saves you a little, even if it's only like one word every time on the chorus or something, that saves you a little bit on your voice. You're not just shouting the whole night. It was awesome, man. I do want to say something about the sound, and I don't know if my ears are just going, but it was like I had to have my earplugs in. Like I took them out for Count of Tuscany, and it's like, I don't know. It just felt like, and I don't know if it's because we're so close to the stage. And you mentioned this when we were at Chicago Theater, like the sound was kind of, I don't know, what's the word you used, was wonky, or it was a little weird.
Yeah.
But it was like, I just felt like this high end, this shrill, just like tearing my ears off, like without the earplugs in. I don't know if that's where we were sitting or if my ears are just shot, but because I told you for Arch Echo, like I literally okay, I got to go see if I can find some earplugs in because I mean, they were just so loud. I'm just like, I love heavy, loud music, but it's like I don't need it to be. So I don't know. Maybe my days of being in the front row are over. I'm just gonna have to go balcony or something. Which I mean, balcony for a show like that is amazing too.
Oh yeah.
It might even sound like you said it. I bet it probably sounds better back there.
Yep. So our buddy Wayne is in the chat. Good to see you, man. Wayne, again, amazing work on the videos and the stage design. It was awesome. We were getting compliments all night long. People are talking about how great it looked. Wayne says, Brian, I knew you would be happy with the count being the encore. First thing I thought of.
That's awesome. I can't believe you remembered that.
That's funny. So he's busy. We're talking about the tour, and Wayne's doing workout. He knows the set list. He's got to sit there and like, I know something Brian doesn't know.
Well, that doesn't take much.
Right. So Jack Curtis Lewis II, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for checking out the show. He says, coming on late here tonight, I saw the Cincy show last Wednesday. The sound was awesome, and James sounded better than any tour I've seen besides The Astonishing. And this was my 5th tour that I have seen. Yeah, I mean, he sounded great. Nick Brayman, I feel like a chump. This was only my 8th time. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And Robert Reams, he says, I think last night was my 9th show. James has done outstanding every single time. I've never heard him have a bad night when I've went. I haven't either, man. And that's not being a James fanboy, which I very much am. He has sounded great every time I've seen him, and it's awesome. So, yeah, it was definitely a kick-ass show. I thought Arch Echo was fantastic. I pulled some of their stuff down today. And they played a perfect length of time too. I mean, it was only a half-hour set. So, you were getting into it and you enjoyed it, and then right as you're probably about to get to this point where you're like, all right, where's Dream Theater? They ended the set. I really liked them. So if you guys are not able to catch Dream Theater on this tour, go check out Arch Echo. They were really good. And again, the Dream Theater set really flowed very well. The band sounded great. Honestly, if I had only one complaint, Brian, I would say we did not we only got like one Zen Riffer spot with Jordan. He basically just stayed on his keyboard the whole time and didn't come up front. There was no awesome like jammy like thing with him and Petrucci. It was, they pretty much stuck to the song structures, and it didn't allow Jordan to come kick some ass like with some ripping leads. I mean, did you notice that?
Yeah, it surprised me. I think it was it Endless Sacrifice was the one he came out on.
I think so.
Yeah, because that's like kind of the one where it's sort of playing. Well, it sounds like those heavier kind of keyboards that almost sound like a guitar on the low end. But yeah, he didn't riff a lot. I saw the wizard hat sitting back there. Did that even ever go on? I don't even know if because usually I think he puts that on and does the Zen Riffer, and I don't even think he did that.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
So I don't know if that was just something where maybe it was a time thing, or they're like, if he feels like coming out and doing more, he does it, and if he doesn't, they just have like a cue or something. I don't know. So yeah, that was kind of a little disappointing, I guess. I thought maybe we'd get maybe like a short Petrucci spotlight or a Mangini spotlight or something, but then think it back like, okay, no, they're playing all these epics. Why would they want to bother with that? It's kind of dumb.
We're such a couple of snobs. We get Count of Tuscany, View of the Top of the World, 6 o'clock, Bridges in the Sky. We're sitting here going, we didn't get enough Zen Riffer.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We're so greedy, man. We are so greedy. Gibson Les Paul says, I love James. The best I've ever seen him was on Along for the Ride Tour 2014. He had a rough night on the show I saw for Images and Words and Beyond, though, at the show I saw. He was awesome at the Images and Words show that we caught in Pennsylvania. Oh, look, Sandy says, and here's for anybody listening, she says, I've seen them 2 times so far, and Houston is coming up. I will be hosting a Dream Theater USA fan club pre-show there. So if any of you guys are tuned in around the Houston area, if you guys are listening to the replays or anything and you're around Houston, check out the Dream Theater USA Facebook page, and Sandy will be hosting a pre-show meetup. And I can tell you from personal experience that they are a blast, and the hosts do a great job. So one more time, shouting out Everett and all the awesome people that we met yesterday. So yeah, man, I think that'll pretty much do it for this episode. And I guess coming up, we're gonna do our Systematic Chaos album deep dive by request, going out to Gibson Les Paul. And here we go. Wayne's got a spoiler for us. He says they were supposed to do a big improv in the middle of Count, like 10 minutes worth. I built a whole extra section of animations for it. Guess it hasn't happened yet. Oh man,
damn it!
So
he's probably more pissed than we are. Then
yeah, you got to send that over to us, Wayne. Give us a little behind the scenes scoop there. So. Man, look at Jack Lewis. He says he's got a long one here. That's what she said. I knew the set list ahead of time and was a little disappointed with only 10 total songs. Plus, I really wanted to hear Transcending Time too. However, the biggest takeaway was how good the three long quote unquote mid-paced tracks were. They were all much better live than the studio versions. In fact, when I'm listening to Train of Thought and Systematic Chaos, I usually skip Ministry and Endless because I get bored listening to them. And on the View title track, it is good, but is my least favorite mega epic. All right. So Brandon Charles says, I love how committed the fan club is to unifying the community and creating memorable experiences. I could not agree more, man. It was, like I said, it was really fun meeting everybody. So, oh, and one more from Gibson Les Paul, and we'll let you guys go. But he says, if anyone in the chat is going to the Red Bank show in New Jersey, we always pregame at Dublin House. So there you go. You can meet up with Gibson Les Paul. Ask him how it feels to be banned from the chat 11 times. But yeah, man, all you guys in the chat, thank you guys for hanging out. To any of you guys who are new viewers, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Once again, to our buddies Everett and Robert and Sandy, everybody from yesterday that we met up. It was awesome to meet you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our interview with Chance LaBrie. And again, in a couple weeks, we're probably going to do our Systematic Chaos deep dive. But as our buddy Aiken said, we are currently talking to Dream Theater management to hopefully get 1 or 2 of the guys on to do a U.S. tour leg wrap up. So we may have the guys on, and if the guys are on, we definitely want all of you guys in the chat because we want to pull your guys' questions up so that you guys can actually talk to Dream Theater. It'd be awesome to have you guys be able to, interact with them the same way that we are. So we will definitely be promoting the hell out of that if it happens. Brian, another great show, man. Thank you for, making time to, lug all your stuff all the way to, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and set up in your hotel room. And,
Yeah, I think we actually pulled it up. I think there was maybe like one time I think I lost signal for a second or two, but yeah, other than that, yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, it was very cool having Chance on, and like this is an easy show. Like when you get to interview,
Yep.
the singer's son, who's a great drummer and a great band, and then you get to talk about the concert you were just at 24 hours ago. I mean, it
Yep.
doesn't make for an easier podcast than that.
I know it was a blast, man. So yeah, thanks all you guys once again for checking out the show. We will be live again on Thursday, March 10th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, we are live every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, and the CMS Network.com. So come hang out with us, download the show, click that subscribe, like button, all that fun social media crap that I'm terrible about promoting. Thanks all you guys in the chat. It was awesome to see everybody. Nick and Sandy and Robert and Jack and Gibson and Kale, all you guys, Brandon, Wayne, good to see you, man. And man, appreciate you guys. And we will see you in 2 weeks. And keep posted. We'll see if we got the guys on. And if we don't, then we're definitely going to talk some systematic chaos. So until then, Brian, love you, man. Awesome show. And we'll see you guys next time, guys. Carpe diem.